Hi, welcome back. You'll remember me, I'm Steve Bang, your sales manager. I'm here to talk about the second session, the sales presentation session of the sales simulation. So, for the sales presentation session, your role is to actually perform a presentation to a prospective customer and hopefully solidify an appointment for session number 3, which is the negotiating and closing the sales session. When you enter the room, you'll see that there's a long line of desks with chairs on both sides of the desk, and you're invited to sit anywhere you like. You can face your customer, you can sit beside your customer, whatever works for you, and make that presentation. Remember, you've got 5-minute appointments, so you have to move from customer to customer in order to make all your presentations. If you're a buyer, of course, you're going to be listening to presentations, and you're going to be doing the same thing. That's what the room is going to look like. It's going to be very hectic, it's going to be very busy, and it's going to be a long time and a lot of presentations for you depending on how many people are actually in the room. So, how can you prepare for the sales presentation session? Well, let's break it down to the actual salesperson and the customer. As a salesperson, your role is to put together a 3 to 4 minute presentation that you can deliver to your customer. You can put that presentation on your laptop, on a Surface, on your phone. You can bring in hard copy. You can bring in brochures or posters, whatever you feel is the best in order to get your customer to agree to meet with you in the following week. Okay? What I suggest you do is do a lot of research about your product. Make sure that you know everything you can about the product and the company that you're actually selling for, because your customer may ask you questions. So I would try to anticipate those questions ahead of time and make sure you have the answers if they're not already built into your presentation. Now, if you remember back from the networking session, your customer probably told you 1 or 2 features or things that they found really important about the product that they wanted to buy. Hopefully, you'll tailor your presentation to include those features into your presentation for that specific customer. So take some time to do that. How do you get ready for the session itself? Well, as a salesperson, I might want to contact the customer to remind them that we have an appointment at a certain time and maybe in a certain place in the room. Whatever works best for you. That's why you've got all the contact information in the networking session, okay? I'd also want to look professional. I'd want to make sure I've got enough material for all of my customers ahead of time. And when I enter the room, I want to be there on time, because remember, if you're late, you're pushing back all your appointments. If a salesperson is late for me, I'll move on to the next salesperson and I won't bother going back and meeting the first salesperson. So if you're late, you're going to lose opportunities. Now, how do you prepare as the customer? Well, at the beginning of the networking session, you were provided with the 4 products that you needed to buy. You've done a bit of research ahead of time on what all those products were, but you probably didn't delve too deeply into what they are. So this would be a good opportunity before the second session to really drill down and find out all the features and benefits that each of the 4 products offers. Knowing that, you can actually have a very impactful conversation with your salesperson, asking some very pointed questions and hopefully getting the appropriate answers. You, of course, want to come into the session remembering that you have to sell and you have to buy, and you have to meet with at least 2 salespeople for each product, or you're really not going to have any alternatives when it comes to the final session, the negotiating and closing the sales session. Okay? So make sure that you've got some variety, because you want to negotiate, you want to compare prices, you want to have options, and without those options, then you'll have to buy the one product from the one salesperson that you saw, and you may not know that you could get it less expensive through another salesperson. Okay? So that's the preparation. Get ready as a customer. During the event itself, I would make sure that you're available and ready to go and energized all the time. So make sure you don't come into the event hungry. Don't come into the event thirsty. Make sure that you're ready to go from appointment to appointment to appointment. I'd use the washroom before you come to the event, because if you leave, you might miss an appointment, unless you leave during the time that you've scheduled for a personal break. As a customer or as a salesperson, you're going to have to be on top of your game. You've got to impress that customer if you're a salesperson. You've got to get that final appointment, or you can't sell to that customer, and you may not be able to make enough commission to buy all the products and accessories for those products that you want to buy. So come ready to go, be there early, and plan to stay as long as you can. Like, I think A lot of these sessions that we do for the sales presentation sessions run in excess of 3 hours. I will allow you to schedule appointments for 3 hours during the session, but not before and not after the session. It has to happen during that time that we've allocated for the sales presentation session. So be ready, be enthused, and what I would remind you is you don't know your prices. So as a salesperson or a customer, there's no prices out on the table yet, so there can be no negotiation done at the sales presentation session. As salespeople complete their entire schedule, then what they will do is go see me, the sales leader, and pick up the prices for your product. And you will be provided with a retail price and a wholesale price, and we'll talk about that in the final video on negotiating and closing the sale. So you can't negotiate. You're there simply to impress them. Bring your schedule with you, because hopefully you're going to be able to add their name to a schedule for the third session, negotiating and closing the sale. Now, I would book 5-minute appointments max for that session with each customer to negotiate and close the sale. So you're going to have a similar type of schedule. In fact, I would use the same schedule, but I would create another column and just say, negotiating and closing the sale, yes, what time, and so on, and go through that as part of your pipeline report. So you should know everything there is to know. Go back and refer to a couple things. Refer to the handout that you were given, and that handout is the Professional Selling Sales Simulation Package. Refer to your profile, and also go back and refer to your notes that you took in class on how to make a successful sales presentation. And don't forget, at the end of the session, see your sales leader and pick up your prices so that you can start off negotiating and closing the sale with your prices in hand. Thank you. We'll see you again.